Hello and welcome to the Pasta Grannies Podcast. In each episode, my guest and I celebrate our pasta grannies by cooking one of their delicious home recipes. And of course, it's the guest's choice. Today I'm welcoming Chetna Makan onto the Pasta Grannies Podcast.
Hey!
You found your way here.
Hello! Nice to finally meet you.
Chetna is a wonderful cook, inspired by her upbringing in central India. She kick-started her career in food after appearing on the Great British Bake Off back in 2014. Chetna has chosen to recreate Katerina's aubergine lasagna. We filmed 90-year-old Katerina back in 2020 during the hot Sicilian summer. So hopefully recreating her dish today brings that little bit of Italian sunshine to wherever you are listening from. Welcome, Chetna.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolute pleasure. I'm delighted to meat you. So tell me, why did you choose
I love aubergines. And fried is even better. Basically any form of aubergine I love, which is why this recipe called out to me. Yeah.
Okay. And of course, eggplant, aubergine, brinjal, that's just the most versatile vegetable, isn't it?
Yes, and it is one that grows in India because a lot of vegetables we use are not grown here. So when it comes to aubergine or cauliflower or peppers, it's something that grows there as well. So it feels quite natural to be cooking with it over here in the UK as well.
Okay. So let's start with the sauce. I'm going to give you some fresh tomatoes, but we're going to make a decision about whether we think they're good enough.
The tomatoes are good enough.
Yeah. I mean, there's a bit end of season, I think.
Yeah, but they're still better than what they would be in February.
That's true. That's true. I mean, I'd never put them in a fridge because I think that ruins the flavour, but I can't guarantee that didn't happen to these tomatoes.
I always put mine in the fridge.
Yeah, no, it wrecks the flavour.
I am going to try that.
I know. And then as long as you keep them separate, they can start to dry out and they won't get mouldy or anything. Kind of keep them in a single layer.
Okay.
And around Europe at the moment, you'll see underneath the eaves of houses, tomatoes drying. So that for winter, they'll stay there. It's just a lovely sight. I keep saying to the crew, stop, we've got to film that.
Yeah, oh, how lovely.
Anyway, tell me what you think.
Yeah, let's go for it.
Let's go for it, okay.
So shall I just roughly chop these?
Grab you a knife. I'm going to just choose that's my sharpest, that's my favourite.
Oh, it is beautiful.
Yeah, so Katerina calls this a lasagna or lasagne, which is a kind of contraction of, lasagna is a contraction. So it's like, sagne is a very common word in southern Italy referring to pasta ribbons. And so she calls this lasagna, the sagne. And,
so it's not actually the sheets?
No.
Wow.
So, so she calls it lasagna because that's the name of it. We could also call it tagliatelle. And it's one of those things about the naming of pasta. It gets very confusing. And it changes as soon as you've kind of driven down the road to a different village and things. So what we're doing now is kind of chopping up the tomatoes.
Do we need all of them?
I think we probably should go for all of them because they reduce down quite a bit.
Yeah, okay.
Of
all the pastas you've cooked, do you have a favourite? That's a hard question, isn't it?
Oh, it is. That's like naming your favourite child.
I know. We still have a favourite one.
Do you have a favourite recipe?
No, I don't, but I do. I am very fond of my death row meal would be like a chicken biryani or something. Like I could just, yeah. So which one is yours?
Yes, I was hoping to swerve that. I think panzotti, which is from Liguria. And they're little ravioli and they're stuffed with foraged wild greens and parmigiano, and then they serve with a walnut salsa, which has got lots of garlic in it, and it's completely brilliant.
That does sound really good.
It is.
Oh,
and, incidentally vegetarian and things, but you won't mind or notice that it's got no meat in or anything like that. And the lady who made it, the small details were things like she took the skin off the walnuts to make it less tannin. So you have this wonderful, so the sort of the flavours on that were absolutely brilliant.
Oh, that does sound lovely. So we're going to heat some oil, I'm guessing.
So it's onion and garlic that goes in with this as well.
So how much garlic do you want? Lots.
Just
No.
I think it's a matter of personal preference, but I think 1 clove is enough.
No.
How many did you add to a
at
tomato
least
sauce?
for that much tomatoes, at least 4 or 6.
Okay, let's go for 4 or 6.
So you want the subtle flavor of the garlic with 1.
No, but we can change it. I think if you feel that it would be improved by lots of garlic.
No,
please,
I
please.
can
Oh my
go
gosh.
halfway. I'll go for 4. What about heat? Do you not add chili? I'm just asking. What about chili? I'm just
So Italians
curious.
do add chili.
Yeah, red one.
Not to this recipe,
Okay.
but we could if you
No,
want.
no, I don't want to. It was genuinely a question as to what do you do
I would
with
say
it.
that it's in the south, in particular, Calabria has chilies.
Okay.
And so they kind of have a chili oil which they'll add as a condiment. So it's kind of a more robust approach to using chili rather than. I always think of Indian food as something kind of it's part of a suite of flavors. The chili is kind of adding heat and flavor
Yes,
in various
yes.
ways.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So would you have added? Do you add chili to most things, or is it?
No, not really, because we don't eat very spicy food. So for me, heat needs to be subtle and not overpowering. Because
Yeah, I agree.
I want to taste the onions and the garlic and the tomatoes, not chilies. But I do want like a warming something in it. So, but I don't add too much because the kids don't eat very hot food.
How old are your children?
16 and 14 actually. So it's not like they're little.
Teenagers.
They can tolerate a decent amount of heat, but none of us eat very spicy food. It just is not needed. It kills all the flavors if it's too hot.
Yeah. So the onions have to soften a little bit more. They're looking kind of a little bit stiff at the moment.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna you
We'll add the garlic.
we'll add the garlic, and that's only for about a minute.
Okay.
Because we
And
want
then?
it soft, but not cooked,
Okay.
kind of golden. And then we'll add the tomatoes. But tell me about how you got into food and whether there was a grandmother or two kind of influencing how you cooked and that kind of thing.
So I've always been into cooking because my mum has been cooking since I remember. She is a housewife, and I remember we'd go to school, come back, and there'll be a table full of food waiting for us for lunch because we'd eat lunch at home. And then once the lunch was done, we would clear up, and then she would make fresh dinner for
My
the
gosh.
evening. So we always had fresh food. That's the garlic going in.
That's the garlic going in. Yep.
So we'd always have fresh food, and there were no jars or tins of chickpeas. Everything had to be soaked, and she still does that. So there were no purees, ready purees, or everything was made from scratch. And like I said, even to this date, she would make her own ketchup, though ketchup was available, but she would like to make her own ketchup in tomato season. So that's what I grew up with. And I got into a little bit of baking. Like I would do a few cakes here and there because she would bake. And baking is not very common in India, wasn't very common in India at home. So yeah, and then I left home at 17. So I went to Mumbai to study fashion. And I lived in like paying guests. So I would hire a room, and then, we had a kitchen to share. And if I could get a moment or an afternoon, I would try and cook something, and I'll call her and ask her how to cook. And that's how it all started. But it grew when I moved to the UK.
Right.
And I wanted food. I live in a really small town. There were no Indian restaurants, still no Indian restaurant to
Which
this day.
really small town was that?
Broadstairs.
Oh, you have moved. Okay.
So, I moved to Broadstairs 20 years ago.
We're going to add the
And-
tomatoes now, I
Yep.
think.
Oh, lovely.
Smell that sizzle. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Yes,
so there
well,
was nothing there, and me and my husband would drive every 6 months.
So had
4
you
months.
met your husband when you moved to
No, we
is that why
moved-
you came to the UK?
No, we met in college, and he was moving here for more training and studying, and I moved with him.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. I'm going to add some salt now. Is
Yep,
that right?
yes, absolutely.
There.
Lovely.
Okay. We might need to add a bit of sugar.
Oh, okay.
It depends on the tomatoes. We'll wait and cook it down and see if it needs more help. So, whilst that happens, we
Yes.
need to, I think, prep the eggplants stroke aubergines.
Okay.
Katerina cooked them separately,
Yes.
which I think is probably a good way of making sure you get maximum flavour from each of the vegetables.
Yes.
She didn't salt them, and I don't know what your views are on salting.
I don't salt them if I'm like frying or something. I
No.
don't salt. I only
No.
salt them for specific recipes. If I'm making like a aubergine pakora or something else, but for normal frying, I wouldn't.
No,
salt
I mean for
them.
me it sort of may marginally help with how much oil it absorbs. Doesn't alter, things
Yeah.
saying that the bitterness comes out is.
Oh no, I don't
No,
think
no, I
that's
don't
just
think
the
that- I don't think
moisture. I thought salt was just to do with the moisture.
I mean, I sometimes think that writers and journalists kind of invent this stuff because I've never noticed an aubergine being bitter.
How would you like this chopped?
Now
Strips
she
or-
did strips.
Yes.
So I think that's a way of just cooking it quicker to make it sort of thin strips. But you don't have to.
No, I like the
How do
idea
you-
of
how would-
strips.
yeah. Where were we? Yeah. So you've arrived with your husband in the UK.
Yes.
And it's
Oh,
a
yeah.
little. In those days, Broadstairs wasn't the fashionable hub that it is now.
No.
And you
wasn't.
started the trend.
Yeah, well, yeah, you can say that.
Yes.
But there were not even any Indian ingredients shops. So every 4 months, 6 months, we would drive to Southall in the car, stock from
outside
lentils.
London.
Yeah,
Yeah.
outside London. Stock up on rice, lentils, spices, like big bags, I remember. But now I can get everything locally. And that's when actually I got more and more into cooking, because I wanted to eat the Indian food that I was missing and I couldn't find it. So the only option was to cook it myself. And that's how I got into cooking more street food, cooking more elaborate things, and trying to learn them myself because I wanted to eat them.
So the next thing that I do that's slightly different is olive oil is nowadays very expensive.
Yes.
I use something called rice bran oil.
Ah.
So a 3-star Michelin chef called Maro Uliassi told me that that's what I should use. So I'm just doing as I'm told. And it has a very high smoke point.
I've
And
never used it.
it's flavourless as well. So it's kind of like, doesn't have any of the sort of hoo-ha associated with some of the seed oils.
Shall I quickly check the tomatoes? It's
Yes.
bubbling away.
Yeah.
I think it's
Might be a
doing-
bit too vigorous.
Ooh,
Lovely.
lovely. So that's the aubergine going into.
in. So continuing your life story, everything changed when you went on Bake Off.
Yes, 10 years ago exactly this year, I went on Bake Off. It was just a program I watched, and at school drop we would discuss with friends that, do you think the right person went or whatever. And then it was the 4th year, and I think Frances was in the show, she won it. And then my friends said, because I love baking, cakes specifically, they were like, why don't you go on it, a couple of them said. And I just thought that it's not going to happen, like I can apply, but it's not going to happen. So I just applied, and I told my husband, oh, can you have a look at the application I filled? And he was like, are you sure? Because not because I couldn't do it, but because he thought I would never get in.
Yeah.
And then it happened straight away. I got in, and then yeah, it's all gone very, very quickly the last 10 years.
And how was the experience? So
It
you're
was
now
great.
used to having cameras like this kind of in front of you.
It was lovely. If anybody's ever asked me how's the experience, do you think I should do it? Absolutely yes. At that time, it was just great atmosphere. You know, all the people in my year specifically, none of us were there for competitive reasons. We were just home bakers and we just wanted to bake, and we're all big feeders. So we connected really well, formed really good friendships, and I think it's just been amazing. We had lunch together a few weeks ago to celebrate 10 years of, and we're still friends, and it's just, it was such a lovely atmosphere. It wasn't competitive at all, and we were happy for each other. I'm so glad I did it, and obviously it changed my course of my life as well.
Yes.
I'm here cooking with you. So it's just been a crazy few years.
And how do you see the next 10 years?
I'm not a big planner. Like, we
Okay.
came to the UK without planning, literally not planning anything. You know, one day we were in Mumbai and then a week later we were here. And I think
Huge
it's
culture shock in terms of food. I mean, you said Broadstairs had nothing, but I mean, how do you find the food culture these days?
oh my
of
God,
the-
it's changed so much. Like, coming to London, you can get food from almost any part of the world.
Yeah.
London is so lucky to have all this, so easily available.
Yeah.
And just Indian food as well. You can get so much more regional Indian food in London nowadays, which is amazing. So,
Do you have a favorite region of India?
God, no,
Okay.
absolutely not. I love all Indian food.
Okay.
Genuinely love all Indian food.
Top 5 then.
Oh my God, I love Punjabi food because I am Punjabi.
Yeah.
That's something I've
How
grown
would
up
you
with.
describe Punjabi food then?
Ooh, it's hearty. All these, you must have heard of chole, naan, bhature, puri. All this lovely stuff comes from Punjab, and it's a lot of ghee and butter and cream,
Ooh.
butter chicken,
Yum.
all tandoori chicken. All of that is Punjabi food. So
Okay.
it's nice, hearty, lots of spices. But I have a soft spot for South Indian food as well. So the dosa and the idli and,
You're talking flatbreads, and that kind of sounds like grain-based foods. They're sort of the different.
Yes, absolutely right.
Yeah.
Because I think the Punjab area used to be called the bread basket of India because that's where a lot of wheat was grown and that's where a lot of flatbreads came from. Whereas South, you'll get a lot of rice-based food. So
Okay.
dosa and all these things are rice
Okay.
based, idli, and lots of coconut being used because that's where it's grown.
Yeah.
Things are changing, but
So it's a bit like Italy in that, pizza was very definitely a Neapolitan thing, but now everywhere in Milan and Venice has pizzerias, and it was a kind of mix-up because workers have moved north.
Exactly that. But yeah, so I love South Indian, I love North Indian, I love Maharashtrian food, I love
Which food? Sorry, Ma?
food from Mumbai.
Okay.
There are lots of fresh vegetables being used, and again a lot of use of coconut. I'm trying to think. I love Gujarati food. I just love
All of
all
it,
Indian.
really.
All Indian food is. I can take any Indian food any day. Yeah. So that is our second round of aubergine
Yeah.
done. I've just got one last round, which should
Okay,
be.
cool. So we've just taken the aubergines out from frying, and they're draining on kitchen
roll.
paper. But let's take a look. I mean, you can see that it's not actually that much fat coming out of it.
No.
So it's quite a good oil.
Yeah.
So what was your favourite dish that your mum cooked when you coming home from school?
So her aloo paratha, which is potato stuffed flatbread, is just incredible. I make decent ones too, but where the taste of mom's food is just totally different. So yeah, hers are amazing. And whenever I used to visit from Mumbai, she would say, like before I got there, she would say, "What do you want me to prepare when you come?" I would always say chili paneer, because she makes a amazing chili paneer. Yeah.
The plate that you're putting the aubergines onto is from Chiusa Sclafani, where Caterina lives.
Oh.
Yeah, we were given it because we actually went back and filmed her again.
Wow.
So we had a week there. Actually, she, whilst we're adding more oil to that, there's a message from her saying hello, and I hope you enjoy cooking the food and stuff. So she will be speaking Sicilian. There's no point you speaking directly with her. But,
I love Sicily. So Sicily is the first foreign country I ever visited. I'm trying to think how many years ago. So I worked as a fashion designer with a company, and I was the head designer, and we went to Sicily for a photo shoot of their catalog.
aha.
And that was the first time I sat on a plane and flew outside of the country. So it has a very special place in my heart. So I wanted to take the kids back so badly all these years. Must be 25 years ago I went for the first time. And then I took the kids last October and just fell in love with the place all over again. I want to keep going back
Which
again
bits
and
of
again.
Sicily did you go to?
So when I went the first time, it was Palermo. So I took them to Palermo, and then we drove all the way across to Taormina, and then the other place, and flew from there. I'm trying to think.
Catania?
Yes, Catania. Thank you. And then actually this year I went on a food trip to Catania, and it was amazing, really, really lovely. I went to some blood orange farms. In
Wonderful.
February. It was just amazing, like such a dreamy place.
Yes, so the blood oranges, they need coal to turn orange, I mean the red.
Yes, so quite close to Etna,
Yeah.
because of
Yeah.
how they need that kind of mixture of cold in the night, sunny in the day, something
right,
like that.
yes, yeah.
That gives them that color. And I've never had oranges that delicious ever in my life.
And you
I
can just have
to
an
say.
orange salad. They sort of put oil and olive oil and salt, and that's it,
Yeah.
and it's wonderful.
And I think I love Italy generally a lot because it's so similar to Indian culture. It's
so
all about the
varied.
food.
Yeah, yes.
It's all about the food. It's all about the family.
Yeah.
It's all about, grannies trying to feed the kids and mums overfeeding. Like, it's so similar.
Yes.
I haven't seen, there's French, there's English, but Italy is very, very close to Indian, like the culture
yes.
seems
Yeah,
to be very
wonderful.
similar.
Do you have
So, yeah.
memories of your own grandmother's cooking? Or
I don't ever remember her cooking. So I said to my mom quite recently saying, I don't remember her cooking much. And she said, no, she used to cook a lot, but maybe by the time we grew up, she had stopped cooking so
Yes.
much. And I have lots of memories of my grandfather, not that he cooked, but his love for food. And I do think I get a little bit from him, definitely. He was so passionate about bringing the right sweets when we used to visit, getting the right fruits, mangoes when we visited in summer holidays. He would go in the mornings, buy all this lovely fresh food, watermelon, and he'll put it in a water bath for the whole day. And then he would sit in a veranda outside in the open. And he was in charge. He would cut slices and give it to all the grandchildren. So I remember more of him when it comes to food rather than my grandmother.
oh, well, it's a great memory to have.
Yeah.
Right, so we're going to take the last batch of aubergines out from the frying pan.
See, now I
Good.
could just eat this with some salt and pepper. I
Very
love
good.
aubergine.
Very nice. Okay, so we'll put that to one side.
So we go on to the pasta.
Now we go on to the pasta, I think. Here is the pasta making board.
Oh,
So all our grannies have pasta making board of some kind, only for the purpose of making pasta. Do you have a specialist bit of kit that's only used for that purpose?
yes, I've got rolling pin and a board. Chakla belan it's called in Hindi. It's a rolling board and a rolling pin which is just used for flatbreads.
Wonderful. It's
yeah.
exactly the same as this pasta board. What are the 3 essential gadgets that you have in India? For you personally?
For me, that is one, because I brought it with me 20 years ago. It's that, like, you know, I've had it actually in Mumbai before I brought it here. So it's a very old piece of little chakla belan. The second thing that I can't do, like very quite essential, is my little mixer blender. It sits on my kitchen shelf and I use it at least once a day, at least.
For spices and...
spices or just chutneys or my smoothies, or like it's used at least once a day.
Okay, so a mini food processor.
Yes, a mini one. I don't need a big one. And that is quite essential. And you know, I like my particular pans that I use for my cooking.
Yes.
Because I just like them, because I know how much quantity it can take, how hot it will get, because you just get used to, and I look after them, so I've had it for many years.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay. So whilst we're setting this up, Chetna, is your mum still an influence? Does she help you out with your books and...
not in my books, but recipes. So I visited India a couple of months ago, and I came back with 2 new recipes from her.
If you don't mind, we're going to measure it out.
Yes, please do.
So we're going to. Down in Sicily, the flour that's used normally is semola. That means it's durum wheat flour.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a slightly different. It's a different variety to ordinary wheat.
Okay.
And so the proteins that are in it are slightly different. So it behaves a bit differently when it forms gluten. Yeah. So it's a lovely flour to use if you're a beginner. Pasta making, this is the flour to go for.
And is it available here?
Yes, it is. Okay. Yeah, you can buy it online through the supermarkets and stuff.
Okay.
So what you want is just under 50% hydration. So put as much as you like in there. Sort of, it's easier to work with between 200 and 300.
How much would you? 200. Okay.
I'd go for 300. Okay. Yeah. So 150 grams of water.
Oh, so is it egg-free?
Funnily enough, Katerina used eggs, but I think that's because she has her own chickens. Oh. And also she's being generous to us as guests, so the eggs went in, as you know, it makes it a richer dough, but it also makes it a very difficult dough to roll out. Because semola doesn't need it. It's already got a lot of body, and the eggs add even more body. Okay. So you end up with this kind of massively stiff dough to roll out. Add 150 grams of water.
Oh, that might be enough.
Yeah, okay.
I'm intrigued with this flour.
So all you have to do with semola flour, durum wheat flour, is to knead it until it is smooth and then stop.
And do you use, personally, is this the flour you use for all your pasta?
No. So this flour suits certain shapes. It suits, you make tagliatelle, which is what we're doing at the moment, lasagna. And it also suits things like cavatelli, orecchiette, all those sort of curled shapes, because it holds its shape much better.
It's got a lot of texture, obviously.
Yeah. Okay, so how do you learn? What's your most basic recipe that kids would learn on?
I would go for like a chickpea curry using tin chickpeas. I'm talking about complete beginner.
Okay.
Though, you know, in India we don't use tin chickpeas, we use proper soaked overnight chickpeas. But if I was trying to convince someone to start cooking Indian food, a tin of chickpeas, a handful of spices, some onion, garlic, tomato, and they are going to love it. It cannot get easier.
Do you continue to watch Bake Off?
I did for a few years after I was on year 5, and I think now they are on 15 or something. So I did watch for a few years. In the last few years, I want to watch it, but I just am not enjoying the change of presenters all the time and how everything is so complicated they've been asked to make. And
I'm just going to stir the tomato sauce while you do that. And what do you do? Are you still baking a lot?
Oh yeah, I love baking.
And your favorite things to bake?
I love baking cakes. My favorite thing is cakes. I love eating them. I love baking them. I love...
What's your favorite cake?
Victoria sponge.
Really?
Yeah, I love a Victoria sponge. Oh,
With lots of cream.
fresh cream, nice raspberry jam. Yeah, sometimes mascarpone cheese in the cream. Oh,
That sounds good.
yeah.
And is there that tradition in Indian cooking that you could say this is a sweet dessert that is lovely to eat?
Yeah, there are lots of Indian sweets. I make gulab jamun. Now we are approaching Diwali, so I will be
And
making
what-
gulab jamun at home.
Wow. Do you see what is that?
So gulab jamun is like donuts, small round balls made with milk powder, and it's shaped into balls, deep fried,
Yeah.
and then it's soaked in sugar syrup.
Wow.
They
So-
are little sponges
they-
and lots of cardamom and saffron.
Oh, the spice is the thing that make it.
Yeah, so
That's
good.
fantastic.
And also it's milk. It's a milk-based
Yes.
sweet. Yeah, so it is quite.
I think that's done.
That's
That's kind of
smooth, yeah.
done nice and smooth, isn't it?
So does it need resting?
I think we've needed it a little bit, so to be on the safe side, we will rest it.
Okay.
It's not entirely necessary, but I'm just going to find a bowl to put it over, cover it for a little bit. There.
Right.
That's great.
Let's check the tomatoes very quickly. Oh, nice.
Do you enjoy writing? Because that's a new thing entirely from, bake off and presenting and cooking at the same time. It's a different, it exercises different bits of the brain, doesn't it?
I love writing books. I think where I come from a creative background, it actually feeds my creativity because it's creating, and it doesn't matter. I'm not creating clothes anymore, but then I'm creating books. And when I wrote the first book, I was so invested. I've been invested in every shoot. I'm there for the whole shoot. I decide the color scheme, everything. But in the first book, I took all my fabric swatches, all my scarves to the studio, and I tried to get, different scarves in different shots on the side, food on top of it. So yeah, and I think it's such a creative process, and to try and find the right recipes to put into it and bring something new. And I've written 8 books, so I have to make sure that I'm not repeating myself, which is very important to me. I don't want anybody to open a book and think, I've got this recipe in her other book. That shouldn't happen.
Okay.
So it's trying to bring something new, practical, and not having to buy the whole spice shop. That is my key thing, because if I can find it in Broadstairs, I put it in the recipe book.
Okay. That's
Because-
a good rule of thumb.
Because if you think I can find it in London, no, everything
Yeah.
can be found in London. So yeah, I love writing books.
Yes, that kind of thing of designing books and, making it look sufficiently your own is, I have a very particular, because I spend most of my time filming Grannies, I'm looking at it through a lens. So I know what I want, and that's sometimes not a good thing.
Oh no, I think that's a good thing. Why is it never a good
Well,
thing?
because I think grandmothers, when we go into kitchens, there's all this kind of kitchens that were made modern in the 1960s or 70s, and so there's this wonderful clash of pattern, old-fashioned colours. And I love that. I love that kind of, it shouldn't work, but it does. And then when sometimes with food stylists, they want good taste.
Yeah.
And I don't want good taste. I want it to sort of look loud and flashy and it's...
But that's, I would like, I would go for what style you're
Yes.
saying, because then it's also true to the recipes and the people you are
That's
trying
right.
to
Yes.
talk about.
So the book 3 that's coming up, I'm gonna try and do more of taking a photographer with us at the time, so that we're taking it's more just so immediate.
Yeah.
Do you have a book ongoing at the moment? Or?
I have got a book out next year. It's 75 Indian dishes. It's basically my publisher is celebrating 75 years of existence, which is amazing. They are publishing 4 special editions to celebrate their 75th birthday, and one of the book is my 75 Indian dishes. So they've got 4 different cuisines to celebrate the birthday, and I feel quite honored to have been chosen by them to represent
Fantastic.
Indian food. Yeah.
When's that up next year?
March, yeah,
March,
yeah,
okay.
March.
March 2025, folks. I'm just going to taste your... I think it needs your knife tip of chili.
Oh, you're saying chili.
Yeah, I love chili. A little bit of chili that isn't actually... But I'm going to add a bit of sugar first because I think these tomatoes are going to fail us. Okay, folks, I'm adding a teaspoon of sugar. Need it to reduce a little bit more, I think. Oh, that's good?
Yeah, that's good. A little bit. Have you added
Chili? No.
Oh, yeah, because I was like, there is no chili in this.
No, there is no chili. I mean, I don't have any fresh chili in the house.
There must be chili flakes.
I have cayenne and I have my addiction is smoked chili, which is not Indian at all.
Yeah, but we're making,
Yeah,
Italian,
okay.
so it doesn't matter.
So tell me what you think. I've got, smell that.
Oh, that smells lovely. That
Doesn't
is
it?
proper
So
smoky.
The smoked chili from Greece.
Shall I go for it?
Daphne and Chloe are the producers. Chetna's just put in a teaspoon
No,
and a little
half,
bit more.
half. No, half. That
And
was
a little bit more.
That was
Of
definitely half a
smoked
teaspoon.
chili. So that's a kind of a variation on Katerina's tomato sauce, but we're already varying it. So that's fine.
So what are we doing next? So
I think that's
blitzing
kind of,
that?
So how she did the recipe was that she added the aubergines at the last minute to the sauce. So I think that's kind of so the basil needs to be added and then it's done.
But you want to blitz it? No. I like it with texture.
I like it
Yeah,
chunky.
me too. Oh, good. Then
Yeah, let's stay with
let's go
chunky.
for it. Okay.
And what I think I'm going to do now is actually start putting the pasta water on to boil. So your current book, Chetna.
Yes. So it's called Easy Indian Vegetarian. And I traveled to India last year to research for it. I went to Gujarat, which is, very vegetarian oriented place. And I met some amazing home cooks who've been cooking for their families for God knows 30 plus
Did you
years.
come across any? Now, how do you call nonnas in?
They call nannies and dadis, which is father's side and mother's side. They've got different names,
Nannies.
which depends on which side they're coming from. Yes, I met a couple, and the others were not grandmotherly old, but they've been cooking for their families forever.
Yeah.
It was a great experience. I tried some new flavors which I personally had not tried before.
For example?
For example, making tomato curry, which is just so delicious. And lots of flatbreads, which I had never, bhakri, because they are very Gujarati-centric recipes, and I obviously didn't grow up there. So it was really nice to learn from people who've been born into it, yeah.
Yeah. So those are in your current book?
Yes.
So we must all rush out by your current
Yes.
book. Yes. Called Vegetarian...
Easy Indian Vegetarian.
Easy Indian Vegetarian.
Yes.
Okay, that's good.
So we're going to roll this vegetarian dish.
This is vegetarian, yeah.
This is actually vegan as well so far.
Until we add, it's vegan until
Until you add cheese.
until you add cheese. So actually, that's a lot of Italian recipes are vegan until you add cheese.
That's good, isn't it?
I mean, I don't make a thing about it because it's not how the grandmothers think.
Same with
I think
Indian
it
food.
kind of makes it more mainstream if you just make it
Yeah.
and it tastes nice.
Do you want me to roll the whole thing together or divide it into?
Well, 3 would fit this rolling pin. 300 grams will fit this rolling
perfect.
pin. So it'll be fine. You can do a smaller amount if you want.
No, if you say it'll work, it'll work.
It will work. Chetna's rolling out the pasta and turning it every few rolls, so she keeps it nice and round and even, which is more important than the round, because obviously pasta will taste the same whether you've made it into an oblong or a round.
So you don't even need any flour because it's not sticky at all.
So you've got the right hydration there, so it doesn't need any extra help.
It's looking beautiful. Actually, it's changed so much from the actual grainy texture
Yep.
to such a smooth, beautiful dough.
You see there's a bit of spring to it.
Yes.
That's good.
See, this is so kind of satisfying to do, like, you know.
And it doesn't take very long.
No. How much thinner?
I don't think we need too much. It's, so she was doing a thicker. So semolina doesn't go very thin in the way that 00 flour dough does.
Okay.
So I think that's thin enough to make tagliatelle with it, lasagna, as she calls it, lasagna. For this one, to be sure, you might want to put a little bit of flour on it to stop it from sticking.
If you're going to roll it, I would think so, yeah.
So Chetna's now sprinkling the semolina flour very sparingly over the dough sheet to stop it from sticking when we roll it up.
Oh, it's so nice. This dough is beautiful. I have to
do it
try
again.
And find some.
I wonder what the equivalent is. There a kind of pasta equivalent in Indian cooking?
Yes, there are. They're obviously not called pasta.
No.
But there are dishes that you make the dough and cook it exactly like pasta. Shall I cut them? Do you want a specific size? Oh,
yeah.
sorry.
So 1/2 centimetre. Yeah.
This much?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry. So, an example of pasta style dishes in Indian cooking.
So there's dal dhokli. One of the things from Gujarat is dal dhokli, where they make pasta like this, but cut it into rectangles or diamond shape, and then it's cooked in lentils.
Ooh, how nice.
Yeah, so like that, there are many more. Most of them I don't even know the names of, and I have never made them. But it's something, I need to look into.
So now we're unfurling the pasta. So it's all lovely long strips. We're going to let it dry a little.
Ah, do you have to let it dry a little?
You don't have to, but it becomes easier
to cook.
Yeah. I mean, so at this stage you can dry it completely if you want.
Oh, and then how long will it last?
This one, probably a couple of months, something like that. If you obviously you have to keep it covered in things.
Yeah. Store it in a airtight box.
And a lot of people use the freezer these days, so you kind of keep it fresh.
Something like pasta. The things that you are used to, like if you said to me, I really want a curry and some parathas or rotis for lunch, I wouldn't even think twice, and I'll make it for you in the next half an hour.
Oh.
But if you said to me,
now you've mentioned it.
I know. But if you said to me, oh, can you make me some pasta? I really would think twice. Not that I can't make it, but it's...
Yeah, no, you can make it, obviously.
It's where your natural instincts are, what you've grown up with, and
yes, it's what's intuitive, isn't it?
Exactly.
There it is, there's the end.
Like when I see people making tacos or...
Oh, you see, that's complete mystery. Tacos. I mean,
but then it's mystery to you and me.
Yep.
But it's not mystery to people who do it day in, day out.
Well, it's about developing the muscle memory, isn't it? It's
yes.
That sort of, that you're not reading the recipe, you're just remembering the smells and the textures. And
absolutely. How many years have you been doing this?
5, seriously. It went viral 5 years ago. But I started 10 years ago. I mean, you can tell from the very early videos that it's me frozen behind the camera. Then, gradually got more confident, gradually kind of got into the groove of finding grannies. Then I got Livia, my granny finder. I have a full-time granny finder because it's a big hoo-ha trying to get grannies to say
yes.
Yes. And it involves their family.
Yeah, of course.
And it's not the ladies on their own. We sometimes joke, we see grannies on street corners and think, yeah, they'll do. But it's not how it works.
No. So what is your is YouTube your favorite medium then?
So that's where I have an affection for it. That I make content for that, and then use the content on other platforms like Facebook. I found YouTube to be more creator friendly than.
I agree.
So tell us about your YouTube channel. How often do you post on that one?
Actually, quite often.
Ah.
I post 3 times a week.
Oh, that's a lot.
I work very differently with YouTube. I want to be like me on, not that I'm not me on other channels, but it's literally my kitchen and what I cook for family. So it's not like following trends, or maybe that is something I need to change. So it's really good food, easy, quick meals. So, oh my God, we're almost ready to eat. Almost.
Almost, yeah. The sauce is now looking good. I've given it a stir. It's, you can just about smell the little bit of smoked chilli, which is adding interest. The pasta water is now boiling. I've salted it. So the next challenge is getting all this into there at more or less the same time.
Wow, okay.
So now we're putting it on onto a flat plate, so it's kind of easier to
carry it
over. It looks lovely, doesn't it? It does
look lovely. And it's actually quite strong where I'm putting it on the plate. It's not breaking.
No. So this will only take a few minutes to cook. Just go for it. Just shove it all in and then give it a stir.
Okay.
So Chetna's adding the pasta to the saucepan.
So when are you going? How often do you travel to Italy then? Because
every month.
Yeah, because
every
you'd
month.
have to, because your content is from there.
Yes, yeah, it's a tough life. Yeah.
So that pasta is looking quite done.
Do you want to try a bit?
Yeah.
So some basil needs adding to the tomato sauce.
Just stir it?
Yes.
And the aubergine goes on top, is it? I can't remember.
Yeah, and she, Katerina added it separately, but I think we can probably heat it up since we made it a while ago. So we're now adding the aubergine to the tomato sauce.
And I've added the
And there's lots of basil that's gone in as well. Is there a special celebratory dish that you like to do for Diwali?
Actually, Diwali is also a lot about family, friends, food. Usually we'll have some form of fried flatbread, so puri or bhature, and then it would be anything the kids fancy eating that year. So nice creamy paneer curry or chickpea curry or a nice biryani. Yeah. Every year it's not like a fixed thing that we have to have this for. The only thing that I do make is the gulab jamun I was telling you earlier about. Mm-hmm. That's the pudding. Dessert
Delicious.
for Diwali, yeah.
Does it take days and days of prep? Like
in
Christmas
India,
does?
yes, it does, because they make their own snacks as well specifically for Diwali. So you'll make your own Bombay mix, you'll make your own dishes.
Yeah.
I'm just going to try and mix this. So
I'm going to use this.
Yeah, you go ahead, because you're wearing the right color for it. I'm wearing white.
We're heaping the pasta and the sauce together over a heat. Oh, that looks, listen to the sound of that.
See, again, the pasta is cooked properly. It's not like, it's still not breaking easily, which is great.
It's really good, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a very happy pasta. So let's put
Looks
it
beautiful.
on here. Well done, you're now a pasta maker.
I know.
So we're now got two plates of eating. Yum. Mmm. What do you think?
It's beautiful.
So what you can do when it's like late summer and maybe your tomatoes aren't that great is to use tin tomatoes if they're good quality. But this is,
This is lovely.
I think Katerina would approve even though we've gone off-piste. Very good. I like the creaminess of the aubergines with the...
And that pasta is so good.
Well done.
Oh, well, thank you. I forgot I made it. Yeah.
You made it.
I know, it's so good.
Thank you so much. You're a natural.
Thank you. Thank you. I'll feel better next time when I visit Sicily. Feel more confident. I know.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
You're there with the best of them.
Yeah, thank you.
So thank you. We're giving guests
That's
a Pasta Grannies t-shirt.
Thank you so much. That's gorgeous. I saw it on your Instagram and I thought, that's a gorgeous t-shirt.
Join the gang.
Yes, thank you so much. And
Absolute
for
pleasure.
teaching me this amazing pasta.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you. Do check out the Pasta Grannies recipe we cooked today. You can find it on the YouTube channel on our podcast playlist, which will feature all the Grannies recipes we recreate here on the podcast. You can find us on Instagram @PastaGrannies, and for extra content, head to our website, pastagrannies.com. Thank you for listening. Catch you next week.